Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian, the Stroke Master, here with Jim, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
Yes, we are recording this after the golf drinking game, so that'll probably be up before this, so you'll know why.
Yeah, so go click on that video. It's in the links below if you're listening on iTunes.
Put a card up there. Make it easy, too.
Yeah, the quick and easy is that I'm better at Jim than most video games, including his beloved golf, and I'm the Stroke King.
1, you're welcome. You'll know why if you watch. 2, extenuating circumstances. And 3, goddamn Brian didn't record the first half of the goddamn thing.
Did it change the outcome, Jim?
Of course it didn't change the goddamn outcome, Brian. The outcome was determined by me 100%.
Do I need a BMF belt?
Oh. Blow money fast?
Bad motherfucker.
Oh.
The thing that UFC, you don't watch sports. So as we promised, guys, we're trying to keep this a little more consistent.
As close to weekly as possible.
Exactly. We have a lot of Patreon questions. We have a lot of beer topics and a few other random old standards.
Yeah, if you guys see topics that you like, definitely throw them our way. Like the Patreon stuff is stuff we definitely address and answer, but if we have random stuff, it'll stuff we'll probably get to, maybe get to, no guarantees, but we appreciate all the input we can get. And which actually turned out to be mostly patrons who sent us shit this week.
Yeah.
To talk about.
So we are actually just polishing off the last of Jim's Coors Light that he brought for the drinking game. We actually went through about 7 while we were doing this golf drinking game. So.
Yeah, we were worried we were going to go through all of them and then turned out to even out by the end. We got a little bit better by the end.
Yeah, I mean, I was the only one who got par twice, so I actually saved some of the beers. So I'm going to let Jim go ahead and get started, but I will say after we get done Coors Light, we're actually, even though it's November, I have the last little bit of my pumpkin, which I guess some people drink all the way up till Christmas. And then I'm showing Jim this delicious ass from 18th Street Brewery. I've mentioned these guys before, but Devil's Cup, really delicious pale ale. I just want to see Jim's take. I don't want to overhype it because in case he hates it. But I don't know. For a pale ale, it's one of the better ones I've had.
Yeah, I've never had that one. So,
all right, Jim. So what's the first topic?
All right, it's a beer topic. This is going to be a very beer heavy episode, which is good because we haven't between the guests and just random like episodes. We haven't gotten to the beer stuff as much lately.
Yeah.
So, first one's going to be Bud Light gives beer hero Bud for life. So, for those who don't know, the World Series just happened. The Astros won. Congratulations. Or not Astros. The Capitals. Nationals. We're 7 beers in. The Nationals just won. Congratulations to them. Congratulations, Todd, with your constant shit posting on Facebook. With your 17 teams in different cities, you're such a diehard for your one goddamn team, apparently. So, congratulations. But he sent us a bunch of beer topics. So, during Game 6, I believe, a fan was holding 2 Bud Lights in his hand. Home run was hit by the first baseman for the Astros. And instead of dropping his beers, he just took that 100-mile-per-hour ball right to the chest. Didn't drop his beers. And everyone's calling him a hero. I'm calling him thrifty because goddamn $12 a beer at the goddamn stadium. I guarantee they probably upcharge it for the World Series. So $30 in beer, I'm not dropping that shit either. Fuck the ball.
Yeah, I don't think it's because it was such precious beer, but you see videos like this a lot with guys who they'll be on a jet ski or being pulled behind. The hell is it called when you're pulled behind on a boat? Parasailing.
Oh, parasailing.
Whatever the fuck it is. And they do a flip and they fall in the water and they're still holding their beer above their head. I don't know. I feel like when a ball is coming at you that fast, I just think this guy just was like a deer in headlights, and once he got hit, he was just and he tightened up and just held both of them really tight. I don't think it was anything more than that, but I love that's what Bud Light should do. They should jump on this right away. It's getting coverage, it's viral, so they're perfect advertisement for
Which they did because it's almost once a year, once every other year, you see a random story like this where I think last season or 2 seasons ago, a guy was holding a tray of beers and he just put his hand up and bare-fisted a home run ball that was winging at him. And then a couple years before that, a guy caught a home run beer in, I don't know if he caught it or if it just landed into his cup and just like splashed everywhere, but he caught it like in his beer cup. So say what you will about us drunks, but one, we become fearless. Because if I was sober at that shit and the ball's winging at me, I'd give the old,
Yeah, you would never even, there's fight or flight, Jim.
Here we go. Here we go.
Let's be honest here. In any given situation where you're getting a physical attack, to this day, might be partially my fault, but when you're around our friends and someone comes in to give you a quick handshake or something, your whole body flinches and you tense up.
Look, Bri, it's a miracle I've had kids with the amount of times my testicles have been ravaged by a group of friends, all right?
But have you earned those?
Maybe half the time. I'll give it half.
Let's give it at least more than half.
How dare you,
There
sir.
were some.
I'm a gentleman.
There were some unsolicited.
I'm a gentleman.
But you never helped your case because you would talk shit and then.
Of course I do.
But that's the thing.
I was a drunk slob.
Don't talk shit and then expect not to get hit.
Details.
There was one time.
Learn to take bants better. Learn to handle bants.
Listen, there was one time where I felt maybe the smidgest. It was early in knowing you. We were in calculus.
Oh,
and Jim, Jim and I went to the same high school, unbeknownst to each other. We didn't know each other. There could have been an incident that maybe we'll talk about with Lemons, but
we've mentioned it before. We'll tell it again in the future.
But so with our group of friends that we're still friends with to this day, Jim is like kind of cocky in calculus class.
Calc 1.
I had never even taken pre-calc. I didn't know shit. I didn't know what a derivative is, and most of you out there probably don't either.
With token, you never took English either.
And Jim is just sitting there, and he's like, I know this. And he leans back, as cocky as could be. Leans back, his hands are back like this. He puts his feet up on the fucking chair in front of him. He's full. You did. Shut the fuck up.
Feet were not up, but I was man spreading.
Feet were up because it was an easier shot. So I was like, this motherfucker. And I was like, you know what? He just deserves this. And this is a class of at least 100 people.
If not more.
Yeah. So I just wham right into his nuts. And what was great is, we all have those friends when you get nut shots, they either make a loud noise. Jim didn't even make a noise. He just went, and he kind of leaned forward, and his hand was in his
So here's the detail that Brian's neglecting right now. There was such a thwack to this shot that he gave me that people in rows around us, at least 2 rows ahead, turned around and just went, oh, God. Like, it's the kind of, it's the hit where if you're a male, you just know what just happened. You just get that sixth sense, like their stomachs hurt from it.
That's one of the reasons why I feel bad about it, because it was too good of a hit.
It was pinpoint precision.
They call me Bullseye Quinn for a reason, Jim.
You were on fire that year because you had the ball shot of all ages, and you had the time that you hit my stomach and it sounded like a volleyball. And I shit you not, there is one time where you just smacked me in the stomach for whatever reason. And it literally sounded like, whoop. Like a legit volleyball.
Ironically enough, it was in a physics lecture, and sure enough, people turned around again.
Yes, they did. What the fuck, is that a volleyball?
So
I've lived a storied life.
So yeah, Jim, from many years of, after that, there was many times of Jim just being, especially like we would go to the commuter lounge.
Me being me.
And, oh guys, let's play this game Halo. Kind of being coy about it, like he didn't play it and shit. And it was, what, Halo 2?
It was Halo 2.
Yeah. So, me and my other friends, we all played games, but not, it was way before, obviously, even thoughts of this site, or even Call of Duty, anything that we would have been competitive. Jim's playing it off like he didn't, and we're kind of still like, what do you do? Like, how do you switch weapons? He didn't know shit. This motherfucker was so cheap. He kept getting the invisibility cloak,
and
the rocket launcher, and the sword, and he just kept on spamming us and just nonstop. And we didn't even know, we're like, where the fuck is he? And he screen watched on top of it because he was a motherfucker. Don't act like he didn't.
It was a 27-inch screen.
As soon as I was like, hey, Jim, guess what? Like, I got a sniper rifle. Oh, why did you just magically know to duck at this? You were a motherfucker with that. But regardless, Jim would only want to play Halo. And then once we started catching up, we started playing other games. So he deserved a lot. And
I'm a bit of a shit dick. I've never said I wasn't.
I'm bringing this all around. So to this day, Jim has a a very flinchy attitude. So
Extremely flinchy.
If you go in and you're like, "Hey Jim, what's up?" You go in for a handshake, you do it real fast. His whole body goes,
Yeah.
he turtles real hard. And I haven't hit you in ages.
It's been a while.
And you've deserved
You know, Bri, some scars just don't go away.
Would you say the scars remind you?
Oh, Jesus.
Get it from Papa Roach?
Yes, thank you, Brian.
So you would definitely drop your beer, shit your pants, and cry if a ball hit you that fast.
Oh, yeah.
There's no chance. Even if you had Precious Dissident or whatever your most expensive beers are.
See, also knowing me, I'm a bit more of I'm a hefty boy, some could say.
Jim, you're just big boned.
Yeah, that's what we can call it. Not big boned where it counts, but I am big boned. And it would probably cave me in a little bit. And guaranteed if I was drinking all night at a fucking baseball game, it would all be coming out. No question in my mind.
You'd be more of a spectacle.
I'd be a spectacle. I'm a spectacle without that, Brian. Let's be fair. So
I think that guy, hey, good for you that you held on to it, whether you were just cheap or that was your reflex. But I love that Bud Light jumped on top of that because more beer companies should be jumping on shit like this.
It's surprising too because for all the big stories that have happened, it's only been like 4 people. So you can give free. So they're basically giving him free Bud for life, is what they're saying.
He deserves it.
Exactly. If they go through with it, whatever. I don't know. Cool. So
pass me can opener, bottle opener.
Yeah.
All right, so we finished our Coors, moving on to Pumpkin.
So, Snarkcast, thank you for that. And here's another one he gave us. He gave us a shitload of beer topics this time.
Good.
He was on fire.
Love me,
especially with this, what do you call it, us trying to move to weekly. We need all the help we can get.
We thought that with just one, Jim. I think we'll get to a point where, like, we have too many topics.
Yeah, I mean,
right now, we need them.
This one will probably go fucking too long, but next story up. North Dakota Brewing is putting shelter dogs on their beer cans. So this is coming from the Fargo Brewing Company of North Dakota. And the long story short is they've teamed up with a local rescue, and they're putting actual dogs from the rescue onto the beer cans to encourage people to go out and adopt these dogs. Now, they are saying that I don't know if they're writing it on the can or not, but they're encouraging that these are dogs that should just be alone in the house. They don't play well with other dogs, but I think it's an interesting thing with a good intention, but kind of worried that people aren't going to be fully knowledgeable about the either one dog per house or the actual condition of these dogs. And I'm not one of these pit bulls or killer peoples, but like a lot of the dogs on there are pit bulls, which I guess you have to expect for rescues.
Yeah, I mean, I hate being as skeptical as I am, but I tend to think, like, are you just jumping on, like, that's been a hot topic for a while, like, only by rescues and, help rescue and tons of documentaries, tons
Adopt,
of things.
don't breed.
Exactly,
like that.
which, to each his own. If you're willing to do it, cool. I kind of look at it the same as, to a degree, like vegans. Like, you get a little self-righteous with it at times.
Some can.
Definitely some can. And I just hope they're not jumping on it just because it's the hot topic. It's a thing. Hey, if it's actually making change, I would imagine you'd have to rotate those beers like almost monthly with the pictures, which it's not a tough thing. Like after we've toured enough breweries, they can change the labels. Hey, once again, if it's on the up and up and it's good, I would hope that if you're doing that, maybe some of the sales you do go towards those adoption centers.
It didn't mention, like, it seems weird that it wouldn't be the thing where it's like putting money towards it. I think it's like really trying to just get people to see like a cute picture of a dog, but like, I want that dog.
Yeah, and hey, whatever way that can help it, because we all know if you don't get adopted, you're just gonna be euthanized, and
right.
That sucks. So I believe that,
I hope it's just not a thing where like a lot of people get suckered in, not really saying suckered in, but like a rescue dog is tough. Like I had a rescue dog before, and unfortunately for circumstances, it didn't work out. Yeah. Like within 9 months we had to put her down, but that's a whole different kind of bag of things right there.
Oh yeah.
So it's the kind of thing where it's like, if you're adopting a rescue dog, hopefully it's people who know what they're getting into and not some drunk with a beer going, this dog's adorable. I want this to be my dog.
Yeah, like, granted, craft beer people are the type that would, if you're really hardcore craft beer, you're probably the type that would only go adoption anyway from a shelter, one of these shelters.
Right.
But
and it's an admirable clause, too.
But to your point, like, forget just putting aside adopting a shelter dog. Just owning a dog in general is fucking tough. And there's a lot of people out there that should never own an animal, period.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if it'll open up the doors for anyone new in terms of, like, you're drunk and you're like, oh, I want a cute puppy. But, like I said, it sounds like this is probably on the up and up, and I'm fine with that.
Right.
As long as it's not just trying to cash in on something.
Right. True.
You know, like, because the publicity, you know, this is going to get picked up by a lot of places. You're probably going to see a lot of, like, oh, like now on the East Coast, someone will try to do that. And it's fine if it helps. But just...
And there's a shitload of animals out there that do need homes, so...
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to jump on... What the fuck? Chocolate. I don't want to jump on the skepticism thing right away, but I think it's a good intention, but I think the end result might not be...
Yeah, I'd like to see this in 6 months, follow up, like, do they even still
See
have
how
the
it
beer
went.
line?
I want to see if it actually made a difference in their adoption numbers. I think the most interesting thing to see at first will be, like, did it do anything?
Yeah, because not that it's up to a craft, especially what's the name of them?
Founders.
Okay, so obviously...
Oh, wait, no, that isn't Founders. That's the next story. That's a doozy.
Okay.
Hold on.
I thought you said North Dakota.
It's from Fargo Brewing.
Okay.
Fargo, North Dakota.
I don't know their size. I know nothing about them, but I would hope that, you know, if you're turning a big profit and this is something that's important to you, like you said, if you start making crazy sales because of your beer, apply that to those shelters because they need funding too. So that would be my only, like, if you start really like raking it in, okay, give it back. Don't just hope people are going to adopt these dogs.
Right.
But maybe that's hoping too much. I don't know.
And maybe we've been on the internet too long and we're way too skeptical about anything in general. So
I've just been around too many people too long, Jim.
That's a good point too.
I don't trust a lot of people with their good intentions.
Yeah. Besides, there's always a rube out there. There's always a catch.
Yeah, always. So, you know, thank you, Todd. That is a good topic. And that, I mean, I'll be honest, if I was walking through and I saw a picture of dogs, I'd be like, oh, what's this? It would at least make me look and then feel like morally obligated, like thinking that maybe they are giving money. Like,
that's what I was about to say too. Like maybe people are like, oh, this probably a thing where if I buy it, then they'll donate like, 10% to the thing or whatever.
So I actually want to try to remind myself to look back into that to see, did it have any effect?
Yep. All right, next story up. I think it might also be from Todd a while back. This is an older story, but not 100% sure. But the Founders Brewing manager claims he didn't know a black employee was black. So, where this is coming from is there is an employee named Tracy Evans. He worked at the Founders Brewing. I don't know if it was the brew pub or the brewery itself. African-American gentleman, pretty much undisputably black. And
let me see the picture. So the link will be below, but for those of you who are watching live, it's going to be really tough to see.
Might be a little tough.
As Jim said, unmistakably.
So he's suing Founders for basically racism on the job.
Okay.
Where they would make slurs at him all the time. The N-word was used, just thrown around, apparently, by co-workers and by management from what he's saying. He's saying some white co-workers exhibited multiple examples of blatant racism. Among other issues, they repeatedly used the N-word around him, and management allegedly named a printer it used the white guy printer, and labeling the printer for lower-tier employees as the black guy printer.
Wow.
Yowza. So, apparently, management, according to him, did very little about the racism, and he claims that he was fired while preparing to make a second formal complaint to HR about it.
Okay.
So, as they're going through and talking to one second. Jack Schultz. So, Founders Detroit general managers Dominic Ryan and Evans' attorney Jack Schultz. Schultz was asking questions to Ryan to where Ryan claims, the general manager, that he had no idea that Mr. Evans was black. Going so farther as to say that when asked for clarification, are you aware Tracy is black? Mr. Ryan claims that he didn't know if former President Barack Obama, Kwame Kilpatrick, or Michael Jordan, of all people, were African American because he had never met them. Quote unquote.
Oh, man.
A daring legal strategy, I will say.
That's... Okay.
This is taking I Don't See Color to just the next level.
Yeah, I don't know. Is he that stupid? Or...
And he even admits in the questionnaire that is quoted here if he had ever met Mr. Tracy Evans, to which he says a few times.
So he doesn't know if he's black. He doesn't know if...
All right, I just have to read this back and forth. It's too good. So, Schultz, are you aware that Tracy is black? Ryan, what do you mean by that? Schultz, are you aware that Tracy's African American? Ryan, I'm not sure of his lineage, so I can't answer that. Schultz, all right. Are you aware that Tracy is a man of color? Ryan, what do you mean by that? Schultz, no? You don't know what it means for someone to be a white person or a black person? Ryan, I'm asking for a clarification. Schultz, you don't need any. I can promise you. We just need, for a record, someone's skin color, a white. Ryan, so what you're referring to... Schultz, yeah. Ryan, okay, I know the difference in skin tone. Schultz, are you able to identify individuals? Ryan, what do you mean identify? This is what do you mean by is again. This is Bill Clinton all over again. And it just goes on and on. It even says at one point, objection, argumentative. This is fantastic. Did you realize that Tracy's skin is black? That's not, is his skin different from mine? Yes. How? What do you mean how?
So...
What's the difference in that color? Ryan, it's darker. Schultz, and that means... Ryan's attorney, objection, vague question. The legal system's fantastic. This is just... this is why every once in a while it's fun to just look into these ridiculous lawsuits. Not saying that Tracy's is ridiculous because he's got a legit point here.
So my first thing was, okay.
And it just goes on and on from there. If you want to read one of the most hilarious transcripts you'll ever see, read this transcript.
Yeah, click the link below. But all right, so this guy Ryan, number one, I know lawyers, I know how they speak, and I know even in trying to talk to them about regular things, if you catch them in a lie, there's no admitting. So I don't know if this guy has a law background or something. It sounds like he does. If what he's bringing forth is true, that they're using the N-word, if they name printers white guy, what was it, white person or white guy printer?
The white guy printer, and the bad printer was the black guy printer.
Okay. If that was true, number one, that would be very easy to prove.
Well, the only thing I would say about that too is, how do you make that up? Is he that creative? Is someone that creative?
That's where I'm like, okay, so if it really was that blatant,
not to say you can't be that creative, but that's pretty creative.
But is there not another black person in that company that can corroborate the story? Cause,
that's the thing.
And not once again, like you said, that's too crazy to just make up.
And then again, do you have, say, black guys who work there that don't want to stir the pot? They still like their job. They don't want to be part of a class action or some shit.
Was this Founders headquarters,
Yeah, let me see.
So while he's looking it up, number one, you're in Detroit. There's a mix of everyone. It's not like you're in friggin' North Dakota.
If you're in Detroit, it's not like you're not around black people. Let's put it that way.
This is very odd. I don't know. The whole story's fucked. I think it's obviously not a reflection on Founders products. It sounds like it's this one GM, and he's a real, dickhead. And whoever else is working there, I don't know what the fuck is going on there. But, yeah, that's really ridiculous. I think it should be a landslide victory for Tracy, and I hope he gets whatever he's suing them for. I just don't understand how you would let that level of craziness go in a company.
All right, so since this has been dropped on October 26th, dozens of local bars have dropped Founders from their menus.
I don't blame it, yeah.
Yeah, and it was actually the company's closing its Detroit tap room until further notice.
Should.
And it pulled out of the weekend's Michigan Beers Guild Founder Beer Festival. And Founders' diversity and inclusion director announced her resignation from the company.
Oh.
So this just became... Oh, she's a black woman, by the way. So...
Yeah, no, right away, here's the deal.
If there's someone who's going to drop out because of this shit,
that's really shitty. I'm just
might be some teeth.
It sounds like there's plenty of teeth, and just based on that transcript, if that guy's answering like that, then man, you're dealing with some weird shit right there.
And that's got to be a thing where, like, that director probably went to her higher-ups and went, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And they probably just went, oh.
Yeah, no, everyone's from Founders is going to definitely play that. And granted, if that's not their headquarters, I don't know if it is. Once again, I'll
look it up real quick.
Yeah, look up where Founders is from. But they got to be like, what the fuck are those idiots in Detroit doing right now? Because you're just ridiculous.
Grand Rapids, so it's still Michigan.
Michigan, so it's still...
Detroit's like a local tap room then, I guess.
So, yeah, you fucked up.
Yikes.
Here's my only thing I'll throw out there if I'm being devil's advocate is I don't think that's a company-wide thing.
Oh,
I think that was a specific group of really terrible assholic people. I don't even know if that's a word, assholic.
I'll go with it.
But it's like, I'm cool. Hey, if your personal politics are you don't want to drink the beer, go right ahead. That's obviously your choice. But I wouldn't say, like, whoever the CEO or head dude condones it. If they try and cover it up, like, they should just be like, hey, the guy's there, everyone was fired, who was a complete asshole, like that Rick guy, whatever the hell his name was.
Yeah,
like,
whatever his name.
Just cut ties with everyone there and clean house and then say, this will never happen. Like, do what you need to do to make sure.
It's kind of surprising they didn't do everything they could to get this,
Get ahead of it. Like, yeah, don't do plausible deniability. Say, any big company you work for, you're not going to know what every single branch does. If you got one that does some stupid shit like this, you cut the whole branch. You say, fuck it. All right, clear house and move on.
Yeah, people have been fired for less.
So, Tracy, hope that guy gets whatever. I mean, if the case was already dropped, though, I don't know if they just settled it out of court.
I don't think it was dropped yet.
I thought you said the case was dropped in late October.
No, they got dropped from breweries around town, from bars. Founders got dropped.
Yeah. So, Todd, another great topic.
Yeah, thank you, bud.
That's fucking crazy.
The beer world these beer lawsuits are fantastic.
Yeah.
They always turn out to just be, whether it's the owner or something down the line, it's an odd group of people who gets into this sometimes.
Beer people are weird people.
Yep.
All right, so while Jim's looking up the next topic, we moved on to pumpkin. We've talked about this plenty of times. As they say on the side, pumpkin pie in a glass. We've heard many people say it just tastes like every fall spice that you can imagine in a beer. I still love the shit out of it. It's one of the best pumpkin beers there is out there.
Oh, yeah, it's still, what do you call it? Easily. I can't.
Bless you.
Oh, that was awkward. Yeah, it's still probably easily my favorite pumpkin beer of all of them. Like, back when we first started the page, like 2013, 2014, we went through like 30 pumpkin beers when we were still putting all the beer reviews on the webpage and shit like that. That was like 4 web pages ago before they all got nuked from orbit. That was a lot. Well, we still have it on a Google Drive. Maybe one.
Yeah, basically, while Jim's saying that, I actually have a backlog of reviews that I'm going to start at a minimum a couple times a week just reposting. But to Jim's point, we lost over 200 to 300 posts of beer reviews, game reviews. So
many.
Not lost like, oh, we can just pull it. No, completely lost. So we're rebuilding old shit from scratch.
Yeah, like in the old days, Brian would be, as he does now, he's the main video editor guy. But back then, I would do all the written write-ups for everything. So we would have a written review for the game as well as the YouTube video that we would put up there. And we would have a weekly beer review written out and shit like that. And that all just went poof.
Yeah.
So that was not disheartening 3 or 4 times that it happened. But yeah, Southern Tier is definitely one of the favorites. And it doesn't taste like normal pumpkin beers. It actually tastes more like what you think a pumpkin spice beer would taste like.
Yeah.
So people either love it or call it garbage.
I love it. I'll never not love it. From year to year, I'm glad this is one of the few that hasn't changed up their formula, because there's been a couple that we've talked about from one year to the next.
People used to jizz over the Dogfish Head pumpkin beer.
Yeah, and
no one talks about it anymore.
No, because it's meh.
It was meh when it was hot.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I love this beer, but I just wanted to point that out. So, Jim, what do we got next?
Next up comes from our buddy Prince Watercress on Twitter. He's also on YouTube. Check him out. Pardon. Very professional. Utah, among the last in the U.S. to lay weak beer to rest. So what this is basically is this is the first major beer law change since Prohibition. And Utah, up until this point, had an alcohol limit of 3.2% for beer. Utah, the Mormon state, because of course.
Makes sense.
So it's not like it drastically changed, but it changed to 4%. So
I don't even know if we've ever drank or reviewed something less than 4% on the site.
I mean, we have. We've done light beer reviews.
I know, but light beers are still in the 4-point-something%.
Sometimes, but yeah, like I guess like specially made Coors and Bud Light ones are under it. Like they're probably special ones for these markets.
Yeah.
But so the increase to the still low 4% weight by market shrunk, and the large breweries stopped making many weaker beers. And to celebrate, they threw a parade, which I guess Budweiser was like the last one to make the weaker beers that they were still able to drink. They had the Clydesdales there. As a weird, which is kind of weird that they're giving Bud a fuck you when they're one of the companies that were still making the weak beer for you.
Also,
shouldn't you make a fuck you for your state or your lawmakers and not the beer that was actually providing for you?
Not like we have a ton of people, a listen or watch, whatever, but Utah. What are you doing? You're not even a real, like, you're a state, but you're not really. Like, you're just there.
You're big land-wise.
You're space in between other states. You got some mountains, sure.
You're next to Vegas, good for you. Like Nevada.
Like, let's calm your tits on your importance. Like, your
history.
Right,
we're going to lose all of our Utah listeners now.
Like, really, like, get the fuck out of here. Like, with your pretentiousness, and get the fuck out of here. Like, that angers me that you're going to be a dick about this, that you are the only backwards ass place that still has a low percentage for beer. Like, cool, do your thing. Beer's not for you.
I'm wondering if this
is fun.
I'm wondering if this is a minimum or maximum level, because apparently Minnesota is the last state to have 3.2% beer. It's got to be a minimum, I'm thinking.
I would hope it's a minimum. Number one, you can't have a... Wait, what's the word I'm looking for? You should never have a law that a beer has to be a certain... Because then you would have no states that would have 0% alcohol beers. Like the Heinekens and whatever.
Right.
So it has to be a minimum. Or, no.
It has to be
a maximum.
Minnesota's too cold to not have alcohol.
No, Minnesota has a ton of beers. So,
yeah. It's got to be a state minimum
So
deal.
it's a maximum.
Or maybe a maximum.
Maximum meaning you can't go above 4%.
That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah. Either way, like, Utah, you're that state, you're that person that, for whatever fucking reason, still goes to a bar and reminds people that you're sober and that you'll have a club soda or just a soda. Good for you. But
the person who's mad you don't have a White Claw at the bar?
Yeah. Well, no, just a person that won't drink and tells you that they're a sober person and that they don't drink and that they don't need a drink to have fun. Cool. The rest of us, we're having fun.
There's so many, like, I'm pretty sure there's mountain ranges and shit, or maybe it's just the plains, but there's so much backwoods in Utah that I'm sure that there's a huge, backwoods shed, meth, and moonshine fucking market out there anyway.
They're making harder shit than beer.
Gotta have your fun.
Yeah. Like, hey, if you want to be a state that everyone's like, oh, look, they're finally coming across the finish line. Come on. That's Utah. Here they come. Up. And, if you want to be the ones that now you're upping your game to 4% beer, congrats.
Like, if you've ever seen a famous person come from Utah, kind of makes sense.
I just, yeah. You guys are ridiculous. I'm going hard in the paint on Utah, but,
you were really beating the shit out of goddamn Utah. Which, I don't care. When am I going to Utah? Never. That's when.
I'll go there for some mountains. That's it.
Brian, what if we get invited to a video game conference in Utah, and then all of a sudden they're all out there with pitchforks like they were for the guy who made the monorail, like Lyle Landley.
Damn it. Well, I guess
they put North Haverbrook on the map.
Jim, well, I guess I'm going to go out there and get arrested because I'm bringing my own beer.
It's a good point. Got to live dangerously.
All right. So
there's nothing else to say about that. Besides cutting promos about how shitty Utah is. So the last beer topic, which I know Brian is jerking off over, and I'm pretty sure Todd gave us this as well. Appropriate. Friday the 13th beer is being brewed with water from the real Camp Crystal Lake.
First issue with this. I did not read it. So the
One, gross. I don't want lake water.
So there is no real Camp Crystal Lake. It was based on, hold on.
Do you know it off the top of your head? You're the horror fan.
So it's in Jersey. It's Nobiskoski or Nobiskoska. I know it's Nobi something Sko or
very close. Nobi Bosco.
Nobi Bosco. Yeah. So
out of Hardwick, New Jersey.
Yeah. Like Jim's point, this is a gimmick, and I will be the asshole. If I can find this, I will buy it just to keep a bottle of it. A standard batch of beers.
It won't be steadily available. It was only made using a few gallons of water.
Yeah. They only made a very select few, but that doesn't mean there was some asshole who didn't just buy a bunch and is holding on to it and is going to sell it for some stupid amount.
They came out with 52 bottles, and they lost a little additional. So, like I said, pretty much extremely rare.
I really want to try to go out and find this. Not even to drink it, just to try it, because, yeah, you don't want to drink beer from a lake. I'll be the first to say that. I mean...
Really?
You can filter...
A very brave stance, Brian, that you don't want to drink lake beer.
I mean, you can filter things, and it will be fine. I'm just not trusting... Who's doing this?
It's a good question. Hold on a second. God damn it.
Jim's phone is
My phone is it's all falling apart around me. God damn it. Well, this is just...
Hold on, go up. So it's Camp Crystal Lake American Red Ale.
Roger Kreminski. It's just a guy named Roger Kreminski.
So it's a microbrew. It's not even a small brewery. It's literally a guy who must have collected the water and decided, I'm going to make this beer. What I'm amazed at and what I'm waiting to see, just like we covered about the video game, the people who own the license to Friday the 13th, they do not fuck around.
No.
And that's why the video game lost license and they couldn't do Uber Jason. They couldn't keep releasing updates because they were going back and forth in court about just the rights to the game. So even though he only did, what'd you say, 52 bottles of beer?
Something like that, yeah. And apparently he's saying he brewed this specifically for, like, friends and family. And he's hoping that more people will be directed to the website and buy souvenirs for Camp Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get more people to come to Nobi Bosco or whatever.
Nobi Bosco. Okay. So
which cool.
My wife and I, no shocker.
Odds are it's never going to hit the market. You think? Yeah. 50 bottles?
We're both really into horror, and there's like a lottery every year about going to this camp, and you can get to spend the weekend or whatever. It's a lottery because so many people go to it. I'm shocked someone else hasn't tried this before, but like Jim's saying, this guy basically collected water, went over, brewed his beer, gave it out to friends, so that's how he's probably getting away from the trademark because he's not selling it.
Right.
But yeah, that's an interesting choice.
Look, Brian, if I can quote Rocco's Modern Life, the fish are kissing in there. I don't want to drink that.
Jim, I have a range of emotions right now.
I've wasted my life.
I don't know if I'm more
angry or impressed.
Yeah. I mean, I love that show. I don't remember anything other than the random animations of it. I don't even know. I'm kind of pissed. I don't even...
Stumped them.
You know what? Fuck it. I'll let you get that one.
Yeah!
Because I am the stroke master.
It took...
and I've already proved...
So I need to have something? That's what I need to have?
I'm giving you something.
Well, it took 6 years and 51 episodes of this fucking podcast, and I finally got one. Kalu Calais.
See, you should feel happy.
I am jumping off the walls right now. All right, so that does it for the beer topics. But Todd, Watercress, thank you so much for the topics.
Guys. Keep sending
guys
us.
Out there, please send us these topics because if you want this podcast to be weekly, We appreciate the help.
And I'll throw it out there. If you're a beer company, small company, whatever size company, and you want us to review one of your beers, send it to us.
We will gladly look at anything you want to give us.
We'll drink anything. P.O. Box below.
Yep. Drink a Beer, Play a Game, P.O. Box 11537, Philadelphia, PA 19116.
Or you could just did what I said.
And in the description.
Yes.
So, moving on to the beer topics. Comes to us from our buddy Kitt. Gives us topics a lot in the past. So,
What's up, bud?
he wants to know from us, what are the best 3 games to introduce someone to a console? So, he wants me to do the N64 and you to do the 360.
Ooh.
So, I'll start because I think mine's probably easier.
This is definitely, holy shit.
Yeah.
360. I'm going to have to look some stuff up while Jim's talking because I have some ideas, but.
All right. So, for the N64, I think you can almost completely stick with Mario or Mario. However the fuck you want to say. People have mentioned shit before. We say Mario. So, obviously, the N64, huge with the Collectathon 3D platformers. So, a lot of people will say, you know, you have your Banjo fans out there. There's Conkers. They had the copies of Gex to go there. Just go with Super Mario 64. Go with the best. So, it's got a shitload of good racing games. And, I mean, I really do like San Francisco Rush 2. That's probably my favorite non-gimmicky racing game on the system. Oh, get the hell out of here.
You're introducing people, Jim.
I'm saying Mario Kart.
Yes. Okay.
I wasn't... Look, there's a ton of great racing games on the system. You have Beetle Adventure Racing, the Rush series, Wipeout 64, Cruising USA was ported to there. Shitload of good racing games, but just go with Mario Kart. Just go with Mario Kart.
Yeah.
And it's obviously known for its multiplayer party games. It's got great wrestling games. It's got great, well, not anymore, but for its day, it had amazing first-person shooters. But if you want to go party games, stick with Mario. Do Mario Party 2. What?
Listen.
What?
Finish your point, then I'll interject.
I'm just saying, the N64, for all the bitching people can do about no RPGs and not really a lot of fighting games either, it's missing genres. But it was no... God, we've already gone over this. So, it's known for being the party system, the multiplayer system, the system that you get all your friends over together to play a game, whether it's GoldenEye, whether it's Perfect Dark, whether it's a racing game like Mario Kart, whether it's No Mercy and shit like that. If you're going to go straight as the party game system, why not do the best party game franchise and do... You have 2 choices, both including Mario. You can do the original Smash Brothers, or you can do Mario Party. I think either one would be a good representation, but I think, in general, Mario Party 2 especially is the most accessible one.
Okay. Can I?
Please.
I agree with 2 of your choices.
I know Mario Party is going to be the one you don't.
No, I agree with that.
Really?
I don't know which Mario Party because I don't have as much experience as you do. I'm going to take your judgment on that's the best one on the system.
Okay.
Excuse me. I agree with Mario Kart as well. I don't agree with Mario 64.
Which I will say is fair.
So the only reason I say that is if you're going to introduce anyone to video games, you're going to say Super Mario Brothers, the original Mario 64. It is great. The camera, 3D, definitely a staple. But even to this day, and I'm not trying to generalize, so don't put me on a crucifix here.
Here we go.
But even girls to this day that I know in their 30s,
oh, I know what you're going to go with.
They all played GoldenEye. And I know that's a weird one, and we've shit on GoldenEye.
You just said girls. I thought for sure you were going to say Ocarina of Time.
No. That's fake gamer people. All I'm saying is...
Shots fired.
All I'm saying is GoldenEye to this day, like the announcement of they're remaking...
It is ubiquitous with the N64.
Like, we talk shit. We've said it aged like hell and whatever. But you can't deny anyone can pick it up. You play a little bit. You know how to play it. It introduces people to a genre that was not known at all before that generation.
Not on consoles as well.
Yeah, like Doom.
Like PC, obviously.
Yeah, but Doom, Wolfenstein. Okay, first-person shooters.
And, like, the N64 had a fuckload of first-person shooters.
Yeah, but there's nothing like GoldenEye.
You had GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Doom 64, Hexen, Forsaken, South Park.
Yeah,
like
and
you just
none
had
of them.
Quake 1 and 2 got ported there. Shitloads.
GoldenEye is a standard. Even Perfect Dark. I know there's some people that
the Turok games.
Yeah, and I like Turok more than GoldenEye just because I like doing the single player thing. But from a multiplayer, which is all that the N64 is known for, I know you hate hearing that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not wrong.
I think if you're introducing someone, like you give them a wide range. Like if you do too much Mario heavy, it's kind of, you already got kart, you already got, party. Now you got GoldenEye. If you did Mario Kart 64, if you did kart, that's too much.
Yeah, I will agree there, but I think Mario 64 holds up better than GoldenEye does today.
Oh, it does, but I'm saying if you said, hey, what made this system great? You can only show it. You can't have someone sitting down with one controller. You need to show them with a group, and I think people had more fun playing GoldenEye than they would 64 with a group.
Oh, with a group, yeah.
And that's what that system is all about. So,
all right, fair point.
So, as I looked up, I mean, the problem with 360 right now is that
the library is so fucking big.
The library is enormous, and
the N64 had tops of 500 game library, including Japan.
Yeah. So 360, especially because if you have Xbox One now, you can play every single.
Metal Jesus Rocks just showed a guy who had a 1,600 game collection for the 360.
Yeah, I don't.
Ridiculous.
And the thing is, a lot of them are really fucking quality titles.
Oh yeah.
So if I was trying to say, all right, things that define that generation and the major genres, first issue I come up with is, okay, you got your open world games, which is basically boils down to Grand Theft Auto 5 or Red Dead Redemption.
I mean, you could make the argument for Far Cry 3 or Saints Row the Third.
You could,
shit like that.
You definitely could, but I would say you go Red Dead Redemption. I like that personally more than and 5 is better done on the newer consoles anyway.
Right, but it's still really impressive for.
Oh no, it's impressive as shit.
2 discs, huge game.
I just go Red Dead Redemption. You go RPG. You either go Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, or Skyrim. I'm going Skyrim.
I mean, Skyrim you kind of have to do for that generation because of how big it was.
Yeah.
I know the JRPG guys would be like, oh, Lost Odyssey. We get it.
No,
but
you're wrong. Skyrim's better.
You're wrong.
The problem is with the third
then again, the
title,
360 isn't really known as much for its RPGs, though.
No, and that's why Skyrim and basically Bethesda, that company, cornered the market on amazing RPGs that were 3D, full rendered, all that shit. So that's why you have to go with either Fallout or Elder Scrolls series. I go Skyrim. The third one, this is where it's really tough, and I'm torn because...
I mean, I know what I say has to be there.
So if this,
and you might be surprised by it, too.
My thing is, I either feel like you have to go with a Call of Duty, or you have to go with Assassin's Creed or Batman Arkham City. You have to go one of those action-oriented, and I don't know where to cut the line, because the problem is...
See, I would say Gears.
Yeah, well, that was the next one. That was the flagship. That's
what sold the 360 in early days.
I know, which is what...
And that's one of the first, big, gamers today don't understand just, how big Gears multiplayer was in 06, 07.
Yeah.
That sold Xbox Live to so many people.
I'd probably go Gears 2 or 3 for what Jim's saying, because, man.
But then again, Halo 3 was huge too.
See, Halo, I think you already got Halo 1 on the original Xbox.
You don't think it has much of a 360 franchise. I get it.
Yeah. And 360, when I think 360.
I think Gears is more staple 360.
I think staple 360 for Gears. I also think, once again, what got all of us really into it, COD 4.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare. That, Halo was always out there, but then you got a realistic and online, I never did online gaming like I did before that point, so it's kind of tough. That's where I'm kind of really torn as far as, do I keep Red Dead? Do I keep Skyrim. Do I like? I don't know. It's
I almost think just for introducing to the 360, I mean, my vote would go Gears.
I would say Gears.
Because, I mean, like, you could also say, like, there's, like, I mean, the 360 had a way more exclusives than the Xbox One had.
Yeah.
So, like, it's almost like, do you throw a Forza in there, or do you think that is more of an original Xbox franchise, or...
I mean, if I'm going my own biased, what I think someone should play...
Like, the N64 is easy because fucking almost everything was goddamn worth playing was an exclusive.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I'm going Gears, Skyrim, COD 4. If I'm trying to be unbiased, I'd probably replace COD 4 with Red Dead Redemption.
Okay.
Like, that... My only issue is I don't like having two open worlds right next to each other, Skyrim and Red Dead.
Yeah.
And there's plenty. Like, you could go Orange Box. You can go...
Oh, yeah.
You can go Portal. You can go Assassin's Creed. You can go Batman,
Left 4 Dead.
Arkham Asylum, Left 4 Dead. There's tons that you could go. That's why 360, that's really fucking tough. It's a lot tougher than N64.
Yeah, I'll definitely give it that.
So, Kitt... Great question, you son of a bitch.
You tore the guy's heart out.
Yep.
Because that's your favorite console still, right?
Yeah, my favorite console, that's a tough question because although PS2 I have more nostalgia for, I feel like the 360, I kind of acknowledge, I think has better all-around games. They both have a tremendous library, but PS2 at the end of the day, you're more single-player focused. You can have multiplayer, but... The added experience of the Xbox 360 and the ability to play with friends gave you a different feel for games altogether. And I think that's when the generational shift really happened. When you went away from local, on-your-couch co-ops to, I can just play with my buddy anywhere, anytime. Mm-hmm. So, I'm always torn between those two consoles.
Nah, I can see that.
Yeah. But now, Kitt, like you said, damn good question. Just cut me to the core.
Yeah, he actually asked that before episode 50, but one, I forgot. And two, we had enough questions and shit going on
That's
then.
nothing new.
Nothing new at all. And for me to cover my mouth, I was eating some snackies before we came back.
Gotta eat snackies.
All right, next up.
Wait, Jim. I want to just throw a random little tidbit out there.
Ah, here we go.
And it just occurred because we had to cut because of the camera, the memory card was full. Something I notice, and I notice it more when I'm drunk or drinking a lot, whatever the case is. When you're peeing, do you ever notice you hit the flush before you're done and you're trying to beat the flush as it goes down?
As in general or consistently?
Ever. Like, have you ever, like, been peeing and you're like,
oh, yeah.
I think I'm almost done. Let me hit flush. And then you try to beat it, and sometimes you're like, oh, shit, I didn't beat it.
Oh, yeah.
Or, yeah.
I have lost that bet many a time.
It's one thing. I actually had this conversation with people I work with. I brought it up, and I think most of them thought I was kind of crazy. I was like, no, like, I don't know. Like, there's something about, like, you think you're almost done, so you're trying to get the most efficient use of your time, so you flush the toilet thinking you're going to finish, and then all of a sudden, like, I'm like, oh no, I'm still going, and it's done flushing. Like, so I have to do a double flush. I didn't know if a lot of other guys did that.
Look, Brian, we males are a simple breed, we could say. Mm-hmm. Because actually, what do you call it? One of my coworkers, we're talking about kids and potty training and all that shit, and she had 2 boys. And she said her most effective way of potty training was throwing Cheerios into the bowl and having the boys take parking practice.
Yeah.
And that got them peeing in the bowl. I only have a daughter, so I don't have that luxury. But you at least have a boy and a girl, so half of it might be easy for you.
Well, not easy.
But yes, I've played the beat the flush game. I've played the let's see how many bubbles I can make game. I've played the let's see how long this can take game. I have played the let's see how dark this pee is game. I've played them all, Brian.
Well, I can say with my son, the easy thing was we got a urinal, and it has the little spinny thing that when you hit it with water, it spins.
Oh, I wish I had that.
So he loves it, and that's yeah. Guys they're like, oh, you make a game out of anything for a guy, and I feel like you're sucked in.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very simple, but I don't know. It's just something I just did right now, and I didn't beat the flush. I was like, God damn it.
Well, I mean, when we start drinking and we get more down to our core base mental levels, and when it comes down to it, guys, we're all pretty much borderline retarded. So you give us something spinny or something to shoot at, we're going to try and shoot
make
for
a
it.
game out
We're
of
going to try to make the wheel spin. Let's put it that way.
Okay, I just want to throw it out there. I know
Look, Brian, just because we drink a beer and play a game doesn't mean it has to be video games.
Exactly. Everything can be a
We're
game.
very broad-reaching.
All right, so what's the next topic?
So thank you for that, Brian.
I got to share what's on my mind, Jim.
And now I have to write this into the thing, so when you put in the description for the podcast, I'm going to say Brian P Games.
P games, that's right. And let us know if you have any P games out there.
If we missed a P game, because at one point or another, all of us at our base instinct level have gone through them all.
We all know the fun of peeing in snow. I mean, don't act
that's,
like... Yeah.
That's a given.
Yeah.
All right. So, because we love to share our stories on this podcast. So, there is one very infamous time in our group of friends where we were having a house party at my apartment at the time down in college. I think Brian already knows where this is going. So, let's just say I was not the Casanova at the time.
No.
So, our one roommate who had his own room and a girlfriend, they were taking care of business. Our roommate who lived below me, who had the other bathroom, had a girl there who he was taking care of business with. So me, I'm sitting here going, holy God, I have to pee, but I do not want to walk through either of these situations right now to take care of business. So I go, I'll just pee outside. So it's like 4 a.m. I'd been drinking all night, as we do. It had been snowing, and it had just iced the fuck over. So, of course, me being me, I go into the alleyway between the houses, because they were like twins, start to pee, hit some ice, whoop, Charlie Brown, right in the air, right down, and of course, I also land on my ankle. So, in the midst of landing in a pile of my own piss, I also twisted my ankle.
Jim.
And I had to hobble crawl my way back to my room.
I never asked you. Obviously, I know.
I should have peed in the goddamn sink. Yes, that's what I should have done.
I know that story very well. When you fell, did you keep peeing and piss on yourself?
No, I did not. Luckily, I did not.
So it shut off as soon as you slipped?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, all the emergency valves activated and everything shut off at that point. My backflow preventer kicked in.
Once you fell and you got back up, though, did you still have to pee? Or were you in too much pain to even think about it?
I was not in too much pain. Well, I wasn't in a lot of pain. But I was in too much rage to think about it because of the situation. So that is yet another story in the wonderful life of Jim.
Oh, would you say that's another Jim's terrible decision?
Oh, there's many terrible decisions I've made, Brian.
We got to go through all
We fall ass backwards into these. There's content for years.
Yep. So, guys, if you got to pee, don't go outside after it snowed.
Go in the sink. For the love of God.
Yeah.
Especially if the sink is not in the way of anything else.
Find a Gatorade bottle. Do something else.
Fucking pee on the steps. If you're not living there forever. Christ. Fucking stupid. All right. So going back to one of our old faithful bits. Overrated, underrated. Stolen from the Billboard Monday Morning Podcast.
I think you can stop saying that now.
Never, Brian.
I don't even know if he still does it.
I don't know. I haven't listened to his in a while.
No.
His new special was good, though. It's pretty funny.
Oh, yeah. He's hilarious.
Oh, God, yeah. So, the subject for this week. Third-party controllers. Infamous. We're talking about the high end with the Hori. The low end with the below Mad Cats. The most infamous with Mad Cats. You always had that friend who would come over and you'd be the dick with the cheap controller that you give to the asshole. How dare you?
So Jim was always below the Mad Cats and still is to this day.
What?
Like your Super NES.
I have legit Super NES controllers.
Yet you only seem to have the cheap ones
when
for
we
me.
Did those videos.
Uh-huh. What'd you give me? Did you give me the cheap
It
ones?
was a pretty bad one when we did it.
Was it Mad Cats?
This was years ago. It wasn't Mad Cats. It was not Mad Cats.
It was below it.
It was probably below it.
Yeah.
It was not a good controller.
It was that type of plastic that it just You could rattle it and be like,
I
what
bought
the
it
fuck?
at a flea market. That's the controller that came with it. I talked to Russian gentleman down in price because I went, there's no power cord, and this is not a first-party controller. And he was like, the controller is good. It's good controller. And I went, au contraire.
But you still bought it.
Well, yeah, I paid $20 for a system with a shitty controller.
So
Heavily yellowed, which I actually prefer now.
it's tough because we're using the full range of the absolute terrible to the great. I kind of feel like you have to say it's underrated just because, buying the official licensed controllers of any system, it's fucking expensive. I mean, what is let's say every system was it $50-$60?
Yep.
Okay. So
Fucking a pair of Joy-Cons is $80.
yeah, well, I'm not even.
I'm just saying.
I'm not touching that, but yes, you're
Or
right.
you can buy the Hori D-pad controller. Link on the webpage somewhere. A review that I personally did. Give it some more views. $15 on clearance.
My point is, yeah, like why, especially if you're using older systems that do local co-ops and you need more controllers. Now, here's the deal. For modern consoles, they're overrated because I would really hope you don't need more than 1 or 2 controllers for a modern console. Hopefully. I don't know what your situation is. If you break them, whatever the fuck you do. But for old ones, like say even, although I'm not that familiar with like, when I think local co-op, I think N64, like we've talked about. Mm-hmm. How much was a new N64 controller back in the day?
Probably $40-$50.
And how much was a third party?
20-ish.
Okay. I think they're fine because you know what? They get the job done. And it's kind of like, it's almost like, I'm trying to find the right word. It's expected. When I was a kid, if I went over a friend's house and he had a shittier controller, I knew I was coming to his place. I played with the shittier controller. It was like a built-in handicap that if you were coming, unless you brought your own. Now, I did have friends where we had the same system, so I would bring my own for that very reason. I knew, especially if we were playing like something really competitive, I did that. But if you're going over and you're just bullshitting, you gotta have to. It like builds into the anticipation of the game. And if you beat someone with the shitty controller, like I would always do with Jim, like I did with golf, then
We use the same controller.
Then you can always just really rub it in. So I always go underrated for that because it's a price point value. It's a value thing. It's a whatever. There's no reason to spend all that money. And you can never say, now, if you go to the joysticks and the arcade sticks and you're spending hundreds of dollars, they're overrated. Whatever millisecond more.
Which we have discussed before, too.
We have. But I'm talking your standard, I'm just whatever third party. They've worked fine. I actually have 2 third-party controllers that were for the Xbox 360 that I actually can use on my PC now because they're just USB cords.
Yeah, I bought the same ones. They were like
Yeah.
GameStop ones.
And they work perfect. $10, $15, whatever they were. No complaints. So I'm underrated all day.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually underrated as well. And I'm more the collector guy. But you know what? Like, they're not as good. They're never going to be as good, but when you put dollar value to performance, unless you buy the complete shits of the world,
Yeah.
and everyone always points to like the shittiest of the shit when it comes to this,
Of course.
you're not under any obligation to buy the shittiest ones.
No.
There's good ones out there. Some of the Mad Cats are actually pretty good. The Logitech ones were pretty good. There's a ton of good ones. When I was growing up, I had a tile floor in my basement where my Sega Genesis was. I broke so many goddamn controllers in a fit of rage. So I was using those big bastard high frequency ones. You know what those big ones did for me? It trained me to hold an N64 controller by the 2 sides. I've never used a middle dick controller because I never need to.
Because you were jealous of it.
That too. My left thumb is actually longer than my right thumb through osmosis of trying to be a goddamn gamer.
Don't say osmosis.
Osmosis.
Don't.
Bye.
Keep going.
I'm an engineer here, all right? Scientist.
Let's. You son of a
I'm a man of math, all right? So, look, there are a plethora of shitty ones out there. One of my favorite stories is the fact that when I first got my GameCube on clearance from GameStop, I bought Eternal Darkness, which the gimmick of the game is to fuck with you with your insanity. So it would make the screen like spurg out, or your controls would be reversed and shit like that. I had bought a GameStop third-party wireless controller. Little did I know that within months that game was like, the controller was fucking up on me. So as I was playing the game, I thought the game was doubly fucking me because it would be unplayable because the controller was screwing up, and then the game would be screwing with me, so I couldn't do anything. So there are shit ones out there, tons of them. But in general, dollar value to the ability to actually just play with someone next to you, I think, and you do have the higher end ones like Hori and all the high end arcade ones. I think in general, if you just do a modicum of research beforehand, you're not going to be disappointed with what you get.
Yeah, just don't, like everything we've said.
Like you can't buy 45 Wu-Tang PS1 controllers and go, oh, all third-party controllers are bad.
You also, unless you're doing this shit competitively, any game, and you're making money, don't spend more than what it would cost for the officially licensed controller. For the love of God, don't do that. It just that's my 2 cents.
All right, next up, another one of our classic bets. Which is better? The 5th/6th gen or current wrestling games? So 5th, 6th gen would be PS1, PS2, N64, Saturn, GameCube, Xbox, that era. Or now.
So the natural instinct would be the 5th, 6th gen because you have No Mercy. All those wrestling games. There's no wrestling game better than No Mercy on the N64. All the ones before it, if you prefer it, that's a preference. But No
People
Mercy,
would say Revenge.
but they'd be wrong because you have more in No Mercy, and more is better.
Right. More game modes, more character, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly. So it's a preference of WCW or WWE. SmackDown 2. Based on our reviews, like we said, SmackDown 2 and No Mercy are the best wrestling games, like side by side. SmackDown 2 offers a hell of a lot more. It plays really well. But there's something about that No Mercy, that engine, and that style that you just can't really deny. The problem with modern wrestling games is now they're all just whatever WWE 2K throw a year. And they are glitchy as fuck, like most new games.
Well, you know what? It really depends on the year. Because it seems like you'll have...
Some years are really good. Like
some are better than others.
13 was great.
13 and 14 were great.
Yep.
15 sucked. 16 was okay. 17, no one talks about. 18 had a disastrous Switch port, but the other ports were okay.
Switch sucks anyway.
How dare you. 19, everyone seemed to love, and 20 is an abject disaster.
But here's the deal. If I'm going to be devil's advocate, aside from those ones, I would also throw Fire Pro Wrestling Returns.
Right. Or like even the 360 area, like WWE Superstars, which is kind of more of an arcadey one.
Yeah. Or whatever new... Yeah,
I mean, there was a TNA game, but no one really gives a shit about that.
So
there's a AAA game that was meh.
So if you're going on the actual play, then I think you go back to the old generation. Something about them just played. I think generally,
you know what it is? It's the Yaki engine.
Well,
any of the games that did that, like WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy,
no, but even
WCW vs. World, WCW Revenge,
SmackDown 2,
the New Japan games,
as we played and as we said in our reviews. Those were Nike engines, and they did just as well, if not better.
Right. They weren't more simulation-y. They were just more...
They were just still just
They were goofy
fun.
arcade.
Yes.
Fun. Yeah.
But the new ones, the thing is, you get the fullest experience if you're a wrestling fan. I don't know about you guys, but I don't just rely on current rosters. Like, if you're playing Fire Pro or any newest SmackDowns, you have over 100 creator wrestlers. The fact that you can import your own...
thousands.
Yeah. The fact that you can import your own music, you can upload pictures. You can literally just have your roster be all your old wrestlers that you enjoyed, and just play with those. And you can make every move the way you want. If you are someone like Jim, who like maybe just had a boner for Gold Dust and you wanted to make him the best even though he wasn't.
He is the best.
You could do that. And you can make the game your own on an engine that it definitely looks better. It sounds better. Whatever. But the gameplay is where it really boils down to. So if you want full customization and the ability to make the game whatever you want, you're going to go with modern.
Right.
If you want just pick up and play, you're going to go with, I feel, like the older systems.
And even friends of ours like Hibiki and Logan Myers, like they run they run parts of their YouTube page using WWE 2K19 and shit like that. Or
exactly.
Fire Pro. And, they'll do their commentary as if it's a real promotion on top of it and shit like that. Which, as Jim Tunney, executive president of both of them, son of Jack Tunney, deep cut.
Yeah, so
cheap promo.
Even though Jim is still the one that watches and is into current wrestling,
NWA Power is the one where it's at right now. Fuck WWE and even AEW Dynamite. No. NWA, that's where it's at.
Putting Jim's bullshit, just trying to get the views for the hottest hashtag.
Oh yeah, because NWA brings the views.
My point
Nick Aldis is really going to bring that shit in.
I still, to this day, have like Jim said, thousands of created W's in Fire Pro. I create, from simulation standpoint, I create my own league, create my own champions, do whatever. Because when I was a kid, I had this super nerdy thing of the old school binders. I don't know if current kids still use it, but 3-ring binders. I'd have rosters of every wrestler available. I would have literally, you pull from a hat, you pull them out, and you do a coin toss, and I would make a simulation just on paper wrestling league. So, Fire Pro for me is that, with music, with whatever. Doesn't look that great because it's still that same old isometric whatever. But I did the same thing with WWE 2K13 and 14 because you could create enough different wrestlers. And that was my favorite genre, or my favorite time anyway, Attitude Era, which is undisputedly the best era of wrestling, period.
I mean, it's either that or like mid-'80s, early 90s.
The golden era, yeah.
Right. The golden era, the Attitude Era, and that's it.
That's it. Everything else, don't even try to fight. So, man, like I said, for me personally, if I'm going which is better, fuck. My nostalgia is all with the old one, and if you're going to pick up and play, it's with the old one. But if I'm going with options available to someone who really likes wrestling and cares about it, you got to go with the modern. Because I know Jim will go with the old one, because that's his only reference point.
I played 13 and 14.
That's where it died, Jim. You need to play at least somewhat newer than that.
Yeah, baby.
Damn. I'll just go newer, just go against Jim. Even though I don't truly have an opinion, this is one of the few ones where I'm really on the fence, because I know gameplay-wise I like the old ones better. But I like the options, and I'm still sore on No Mercy for the save hour.
Oh, God.
But yeah,
I'm obviously nostalgia and just overall fun factor. Like, I'm going to go any with the Aki Engine games or the early SmackDown games. I got to go with the old ones.
Yeah. And either one.
And I'll fully say, like, just because it's old doesn't mean it's good. Like,
No.
the 16-bit games by Acclaim.
No. Anything before those, you can't argue that a wrestling game.
It's what we had. Like, I love WrestleMania arcade game.
But it sucked. Like,
It didn't suck. It's fun, but it's not a, like, simulation, obviously.
No. Until you got to N64 and PS1, wrestling was like, you dealt with it because you liked wrestling.
Right.
You didn't deal with it because it was a great game. Then the N64 and PS1 games, you're like, oh, SmackDown, all those WCW, WWE games. You're like, these are actually really good. And then after that, there was that generation of, like, I just call them PS2 games. I know they came out on GameCube.
Right.
But SmackDown versus Raw, those were fucking amazing. Like, they were really good because they kind of combined everything. And then you have the generation after where wrestling became like every other sports title. It was just a yearly thing that came out.
Some updates that were good and bad.
Yeah. And
it's what we see now, like we said, like some games are really good, some are the shits. So
yeah. And just because I love the ability
importing characters is crazy that people make.
Importing characters, creating characters. I got to the point when once I hit 2004, 2005, that's all I looked for in a wrestling game.
Yeah.
Like the gameplay mechanics were, okay, they mostly play off the same engine. You know what you're expecting. You can do this and that. The match styles didn't matter as much. I wasn't doing local co-op anymore. So it doesn't matter as much. But, once again, we go back to what's fun to sit down and play. The old ones are better. What has the most options and gives you the best wrestling experience? The newer ones.
Yeah.
So.
Check Audacity real quick. Just make sure that's going. I think it is. But...
Yep.
All right. So, to round out this episode number 51.
Yep.
Patreon questions. So, if you want to be able to have your questions guaranteed to be answered on this podcast, for as little as $2 a month, you can go to patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where we will answer your questions. $1 gets you a Twitter shout out every week. $2, get Patreon questions, get some more swag. $5 and up, reviews of your choice, this and that of your choice. Whenever we actually do want to bring the brackets back, but we haven't found a service that's worth the money yet. So we're still researching that. But there's tons of benefits out there. Check out Patreon, see whatever tier you want to be in. And even at the $1 tier, you get access to our Patreon exclusive content, like the drinking game we just did, where you'll get the full playthrough for you to enjoy. Or the half playthrough, half audio highlights because someone didn't hit record.
Stroke Master doesn't need to explain himself to a plebe like this. Because who won that, Jim?
You. By a cunt hair.
So who's a stroke
master?
With
my help.
Who's a stroke master?
With my help.
Who's a stroke master?
I will not answer that.
You got to answer it, Jim. People want to know.
Because you won by one stroke and because I guided you through so many of them, I'm the stroke master.
It's a simple question.
You're the luck master. You're the bullshit.
Brian
Bullshit Quinn.
Wait. Let's be honest. Jim will always go down. He's the golf knowledge master. He gets that. You got that title. Congrats.
Wonderful.
That crown is sitting here.
Wonderful.
But when it comes to actually stroking, who wins? Jim, it's an honest question.
Going to Patreon questions. So, first up, from Game Whisperer, aka Dave. Modern games usually require updating. Future games may struggle if servers are shut down to allow this update. How will they cope?
So, modern games require updating. He's saying future games may struggle?
I think either future games in general or future modern games, like, say, in the future on a current system you have, if you want to keep playing it going forward, and maybe you don't have the right update, it's outdated, servers are down, then you're kind of dead in the water with your game.
So, you and I have covered this topic, I think, a lot.
A few times, yeah.
The problem is, once you get past 360 and PS3, no matter what game you have, is really a download key to your system.
Yep. Especially this generation.
I still find on my Xbox One and even PS4, and even old 360 games, I'm getting random requests to update them. I don't even know what the updates are for. I just go in, I hit the update button, update all, and I'm talking like Orange Box, I'm talking Rare Replay, I'm talking shit that it's like, there's not servers up that you're playing multiplayer, but they're still doing updates.
Well, it's because every system BIOS update, you need to update your game to work with the BIOS in order to be playing.
Yeah, so I think it's only an issue if you're able to do backwards compatibility, or, I mean, if you're doing a multiplayer heavy game and it requires the server in order to play the multiplayer aspect, that's the only time you're going to run into issues. If you're doing a single-player campaign, you're not going to get that, but honestly, those games are few and far between now, and they're really dying out. Like, you can still do probably most Bethesda games, putting aside Fallout 76, most, like, Red Dead's, GTA's, although their online component is very heavy, and even GTA 5, which has been out since 360, is still getting updated all the time with different updates. There will come a point when they don't do that no more, and you could just go back and play the original game. So it's only an issue if we go back to what we've talked about, which is online only or mostly online dependent servers, where if you need another player in order to play, you're fucked.
See, I disagree because it's kind of hard to determine, especially over the course of the life cycle of a console, where a game, even initially vanilla, its playability is with the certain system update or BIOS of the OS of the system itself. I think when it's officially announced that servers for the 360 and PS3 are shutting down, in general, I'm going to have to go into both of those systems and pop every single one of my discs in to make sure that I have the latest update for each game on that hard drive so that I can play to match that system OS in the future. And I'm worried because it's even a thing with notoriously as PT, where there are people selling their PS4s with PT on it playable who have never updated their system OS on the PS4 since then, and you can't plug it into an Ethernet cable to update it because if you do, you're going to overwrite it and you can't go any further with it. So there's all these weird digital lockouts with all this different bullshit. And I think to be future-proofed for the future, you have to make sure before the system dies officially, you have to make sure that you're as updated as can be.
Yeah, but that only applies to new systems. 360.
I mean, 360 and up, yeah. Anything before the 360 era, it doesn't matter.
I'm saying 360 and PS3.
Now, luckily, the Xbox One, it'll automatically update whatever you have.
No, but I'm saying that only started with Xbox One, PS4, where 360, even to this day, I can completely be unplugged, put in no wireless connection, put in my physical disc, and it did not require a download, so you're playing that physically off of the disc, not the system update, because I don't need to update my 360, because I still go back. There are some games that don't do backwards compatibility.
But I want to see if you can take a game from the late stages of the Xbox 360, say PS, I want to see if you can get a 2005 360 with that BIOS installed on it without updating it, and get a copy of Grand Theft Auto 5, which was a very late game, plop it in there, and see if it'll work.
I think it would. It just wouldn't be the same as whatever anyone else multiplayer-wise is playing.
I'm just saying multiplayer I don't even care about at that point, because
all
the servers will be dead at that point. The servers will be dead. Multiplayer won't matter.
Like you said, that's what I'm saying. 360 was the last system generationally that allowed you to do that. I'm saying after that, yeah, you're fucked. You need to have that update. You need to have your physical copies in there. I'm saying the original 360 or even whatever modern 360, any game that came a physical copy never needed a download. So the second you put it in, if you're not on the internet, you could just play whatever's on the disc.
Day one patches were a lot worse with this current gen, the 8th gen. But I would still be interested to see how a very late game, 7th gen game would be to say a launched console.
I think it would be.
I'm sure there's someone out there who has an untouched launch console with an untouched late game who could do this experiment for us.
I think it will still run the game.
I would hope
it would just once again, even if there's little things that the patches were just fixing bugs, you might have a buggy ass game I
don't care about. I just want to play.
I think you'd be fine, but yeah, Xbox One, PS4, even Switch.
Oh yeah, you're fucked.
You're fucked. Yeah, so it's going to be a bigger problem, but just like most websites and most things, I think there'll be an archive of there'll always be availability of anything that's a BIOS update versus what am I looking for? A true multiplayer game update.
Yeah.
I think you can always get those unless the company itself completely goes extinct.
And there's always going to be the thing where systems, games, shit'll lose a license, shit'll be a failure that no one thinks will. You all right?
Yep.
That no one thinks will be deserved to be ported or patched or shit like that for future consoles and shit like that.
Oh yeah.
My stupid collector mind I have a PS4 game. I don't own a PS4. And I know you hate me for this right now.
Because if... Go ahead.
But I own Godzilla for the PS4, which is a terrible game. But it also bombed. It lost its license. It's never going to have a digital release. Blah, 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 blah. I'm not arguing. I'm not arguing your feeling right now.
And you don't think they made enough that it would always be a reasonable price?
Oh, no. It's skyrocketed. Because it'll never be seen again.
All right, well, I'm just going to come steal that from you because I have a PS4.
Well, when I get a PS5, then
You're never going to
I will get a
anything.
PS5.
No, you're not.
Yes, I will.
You're not allowed to do those things.
How dare you, sir? So, moving on with our questions.
Good question.
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Dean. Next up, Todd, who has donated enough to this podcast already, but still going to cash in on his second episode 50 question. How is that Bryce Harper deal working out for you?
Go ahead, Jim.
Again with his... Once again, congratulations. I know you've never been there before, so I can't say act like you've been there. And the Phillies have barely been there. But look, he had 114 RBIs, I think. Had 35 home runs. We're the team that gave Ryan Howard $25 million a year over 6 years to barely hit 20 home runs. He's not the problem. He's putting up numbers. So, our shit team with no pitching, no other players, and certainly no relief pitching, Bryce Harper is not the goddamn problem. So, 30 and 100 with 99 walks and all that shit, that's a good first year. So, fuck you. I love you, but seriously.
And I'll stay quiet because I don't want to go hard in the paint on baseball in general.
Oh, I'm a total front runner when it comes to baseball. I'll gladly admit, like, if the Phillies are good, I'll be as hardcore as can be. If the Phillies suck, it's painful.
I'm saying baseball as a sport.
Oh, I know, as a sport, like, you've never been a baseball guy. I will give you credit where you, even when the Phillies were good, you're like, oh, God, this is boring.
At the end of the day, and I've had this debate, and I can't tell you how many people, my brother, people I work with, I know people claim the hardest thing in sports is to hit a fastball. In theory, that's usually thrown out there.
I could not hit a 100-mile-per-hour pitch.
But
myself.
My point is the individual accountability it takes to do that is way different than any other physicality sport where there's true what's the word I'm looking for? There's true something actually happens if you fuck up. Like football,
you're just bringing it back to MMA.
No. Bring it back to football. There's 16 games in a season. You can't fuck up once because it's so much more important than there's 150
when you
games.
have 182 games.
Yeah, whatever. So not only do you have 182 games.
162, yeah.
162, you have 9 innings. And in each inning, you have countless times that if you really fuck up one time at bat,
one dropped ball will not kill a season.
It's you just have time after time after time after time. Not saying it's easy by any means. I'm just pointing out the fact that, even in hockey, that's a hell of a lot heavier. What's that season?
82.
82.
Same as basketball.
Still, that's a tighter window than baseball. And if you fuck up a shot in hockey, like the instantaneousness of getting from one end to the net to the other is really quick. You get checked. There's a physicality to most other sports, basketball, all other sports. There's nothing physical in baseball other than you run to a base. Like, that's it. And the accountability is nilch. When I point out the MMA thing, most people think it's just people throwing at each other. And my point is, you fuck up, you get kicked in the face. You get choked out. You get da-da-da-da. You could be concussed for life and never be the same person again. You generally, unless you get hit with a line drive and you're the pitcher and you get hit right in the face, you don't really got that worry in baseball. So baseball, at the end of the day, I'm just saying, like, calm your tits as far as how important of a sport it is. I'm saying athletically, you don't need to be as gifted as you do in all the other sports. It's a good hand-eye coordination sport. Without doubt. And it's a skill.
And look,
but athletically, you don't need to be fastest. You don't need to be strongest. I'm just saying, basketball, soccer, all those other ones, you need to be a little more athletically gifted.
And look, if Bryce Harper gives us like 8 out of 10 years of his contract with 30 and 100 or close to it, well worth the money.
Yeah.
So yes, just because you finally won a World Goddamn Series the year that he left the team, circumstantial, all right? Doesn't help that you added pieces because you weren't paying him so you could add all the pieces in the goddamn world. I never think that his contract wasn't eating up money, so...
And there's no doubt, baseball...
And you don't have the money coming in that the Phillies do, but we have a terrible general manager who can't put a goddamn team around him, so...
Last thing I'll say, baseball, America's pastime. You don't call fucking football pastime. You don't call hockey pastime because it's not something you leisurely do. You get at it in other sports. Just saying that. So who cares about baseball is all I'm saying. And you know that's been my position.
I just said I'm a front runner of shit. I'm a front runner and a half with that.
Oh, yeah. You'll all of a sudden be a Sixers fan by the end of, like, next week.
I mean, if they go to the championship, maybe I won't know. I'd be like, oh, so here the whole time. All right, so next question from Eric Glacki. Any chance of you guys doing some more Doom-related content, i.e. Drunken Doom, attempting to beat Ultimate Doom on Pacifist mode, or just trying to beat SNES Doom on original hardware? If either of you have it, which it's not expensive, we can get it.
Or emulate.
Or that.
It would be awesome. Yep.
Thanks. Which...
Yes.
We are very much Doom fans.
I mean, we did... When we were doing the horror remakes, we did Doom and obviously Doom remake. We've talked about Doom. We love the shit out of it. I mean, honestly, between Doom and the Doom remake, you got, 2, 3... Forgetting the mini versions.
Well, you have 2, 3, and like Ultimate Doom and all the other versions.
Yeah. I definitely want to see Doom 3 and then Doom Actual 3, if that makes sense. Isn't there like a Doom 2... Ultra?
No, there's a legit Doom 3.
I know, but I thought... Wasn't there 2 Doom 3s? Unless I'm completely wrong. Doom 3?
There were editions of it, but like there's BFG edition shit. But
okay. So...
No, Ultimate Doom's just like a fan mod of Doom that would like just added like crazy animations and like more difficulty to it.
No, I'm definitely down. We've talked about series we've covered in the past that we didn't touch even half of them. Doom is an easy enough
We technically covered half of Doom.
Technically. So, yes, we definitely could cover the other. As far as the drinking game, we could try. We ain't going to get very far, I'll tell you that
You'd
right
win
now.
that one, I'll tell you that right now.
But I'm always down. So, as a drinking game, I think that could be an easy one we could accommodate.
And I'm pretty sure when the new Doom comes out, we will be reviewing that one.
When's that due?
It got delayed till next year.
Okay.
To like middle of next year. Which I'm fine with, because if they had to delay it to make it good, by all means.
Yeah. From what I saw, man, that's a tough game because that was so good of the remake itself.
Oh, the remake was
You got to really you can't just do, you could do the same old, but you better introduce something that's really good.
Yeah.
Like to keep it fresh.
All right, and the last question. So, Eric, once again, he's another one cashing in his second Podcast 50 question. Will there be a 5K subscriber special? Subscriber. Wow. Calling in my second question from episode 50. We're going to do something.
Yes. I've thought about this, and I've teased it. It's not much of a tease, but I would say on top of whether we make it a podcast, a drinking game, or whatever, I have some beers that have been aged for quite a while and might do comparisons of those old beers compared to new ones, like Mad Elf and 120 Minute.
You know what? Actually, no, I think I drank my 120. But I do have a Mad Elf still with the old label.
Yeah. On top of that, we may just, as we get closer to the 5K, because we're, 70 away now?
60.
60?
As of today, yeah.
So we might throw something out there.
Well, with YouTube's bullshit, gotta round the numbers because we gotta save the creators from himself.
We don't know for sure. We're close enough where I think we might send something out there, whether it be a drunken long play, drinking game.
And we might just do a giveaway too.
Yeah. So no matter what, I mean, 5K for us, that's a big deal. Most
Yeah.
YouTubers, that's still nothing. But for us, that's a huge deal. I mean, it's been a slow burn for us, and we absolutely, truly appreciate everyone who's ever written, like, you guys deserve more. We've been supporting you from the beginning. We acknowledge all that. We love you guys for watching, commenting on us. But once again, you know, whatever you guys give us number-wise, we appreciate. So we want to give something back.
Yeah, like we will. We're never going to make a living off this. No. We are not destined for greatness as far as this platform goes.
Listen, if you give us 1 million subscribers by next year, maybe we'll change our tunes.
Maybe.
But
we'll forget all of you. You never existed.
If we
We're better than you.
If we go from 5,000 to 1 million in 1 year, that'd be pretty goddamn good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just need that one. We just need that one video to take off.
Jim, do the truffle shuffle.
We still do need to do that goddamn Tetris 99 video.
That's yeah. So we're gonna reach out and get a feel for what you guys want to see as far as drinking games.
And I mean, for us with 5K, we can throw it all the fuck out there. We don't give a shit.
Yeah, we can do multiple.
We're not gonna hit 10K for another 6 years. So
no, I think we hit it in 2 years.
I would love that.
We'll see, but yeah. Stay tuned. You'll definitely see something from Jim on Twitch, but it's things I've been considering.
Twitter. We barely touch Twitch.
Twitch. That's right. Oh, my God. Too many beers.
Yeah. This is what happens when you do a drinking game before a podcast where we drink the whole time, too.
Jim, should we have a whole con called Too Many Beers? Like Too Many Games? Think about it.
Should we do it the same weekend?
Just saying.
I don't know. There are a lot of PA breweries. Do we go against Screenwave? Is that what we do?
Who are those guys?
AVGN. No one. Nobody.
So, yeah. Thank you guys for the comments. Thank you guys for listening. As we said, we're going to do our best. We're going to keep this as close to weekly as possible.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we'll have reviews.
You would think we want to put out a 2-hour podcast fucking weekly. That's what we see.
Sometimes we just ramble on.
Us? No.
Yeah. So if you guys, beer topics, video game topics, if you just have questions about us in general, send them in. Twitter, YouTube, our email. Every link is below. And if you haven't already, please make sure you hit subscribe, you hit like, or just comment and tell us advice for things you'd like to hear in the future.
Leave a comment, leave a review on fucking iTunes so we get that engagement to build it up to get a bigger push, as I like to say.
And until next time, guys, cheers.
Cheers.